Bharat Puri joining us this morning. We're going to be discussing, of course, all that's at play when it comes to Pidilite. Remember, it's been a stock that's been clearly in focus of late. Profit also growing 10 times in 10 years. But now going forward, what's the plan? Mr. Puri, thanks so much for joining us this morning. Talking about that fantastic profit growth, what's contributed to the performance? And I guess the big question is, how do you plan to maintain that run rate going forward?
See, as far as Pidilite is concerned, it's simple. We have a very simple success formula. We're a pioneer. We spot unserved, underserved categories. We fill those not with a product, but with a brand. And then we work tirelessly with consumers, with users and influencers until we create a category. And then we do it again, and then we do it again. So if you see the story of Fevicol, you see the story of Feviquick, you see the story of Dr. Fix-It, you see the story of M-Seal. Pidilite's simple formula for success is spot unserved, underserved categories, pioneer the creation of the category, and then keep developing them as we go forward.
Okay. Now, economy is still slow. Demand has continued to remain weak. Of course, we've all been talking about some of these factors. What's your view on the recovery? Are you facing the demand slowdown challenge? What are you doing to counter it?
See, really, there are two different elements to this. As far as demand is concerned, there is no doubt about the fact that current conditions are challenging. Demand, both liquidity and therefore demand are challenged. Now, for any organization, you must act on what is within your control. So what are we doing? We're making sure that our investment in our brands, our innovation pipeline, our work on sales and distribution, and obviously cost optimization, all of those, what is in our control, we are focusing on. We believe that hopefully it may be 1 or 2 quarters as slowly the economy returns to more robust growth. We're strong believers in the India story. I think the India consumption story still has a long way to play out. In the meantime, as an organization, we must keep strengthening ourselves so that when demand gets better, we are well poised to take advantage of that.
So what is your outlook on the demand recovery then?
See, we've always maintained that we're cautiously optimistic. It's probably the next 2 quarters will give you a better secular trend of how things are panning out. Let's just say we remain cautiously optimistic and hope that organizations like ours, our growth rates tend to correlate with GDP growth, and therefore as GDP growth improves, so will our growth rate.
Being the leader in the adhesive business with a majority market share, however, you are seeing an increased competition from branded players. How well are you placed in the current competitive scenario?
See, we're no strangers to competition. If you're a market leader with a substantial position and a strong franchise, you will always have competitors entering your categories. Now, as far as we're concerned, we're clear, we shouldn't be complacent. But most importantly for us, what's important is, are we delighting our consumer, are we delighting our user, and are we delighting our channel partner? And as long as we do that a little better than any of the competition, we shall remain happy. And therefore, my simple advice to our field teams is keep doing the right things, keep a close watch on what others are doing, but it's important for us to keep doing the right things and keep doing them at pace so that we keep winning.
Okay, we do witness a lot of volatility in crude. I mean, with the fall recently that we've seen, have your margins improved? And if we see a further fall, will you then be passing it on to customers as well?
See, we live in a VUCA world. These days, uncertainty is the name of the game. We have to, therefore, on a constant basis, make sure that our pricing premiums remain within a band. And therefore, if raw material prices do fall further, we will definitely look at price cuts and passing on some of that back to the consumer. Because our focus is going to be on top-line volume growth. And therefore, we would rather sacrifice much higher margins for better volume growth.
Okay, and there's also been increased competition in waterproofing as well from paint companies. Is this a risk, particularly to Dr. Fix, which has been the growth driver?
See, as far as competition is concerned, take something like waterproofing. 4 out of 10 homes in India do any form of proper waterproofing. So frankly, a little more competition should actually help the category grow faster. And the task for all of us together is to make this 4 into 6 and 7 homes doing proper waterproofing. So as far as waterproofing is concerned, frankly, it has a long runway for growth. And developing the category is far more of consequence than worrying about 1 or 2 competitors coming in, because there is a lot to be done in the category.
So the consumer bazaar growth has been anemic for a while. What is your outlook for the segment, and what is your strategy to recover growth in the segment?
See, as we've said, our growth rates tend to correlate to GDP growth. But as an organization, we must keep focused on doing a fair amount of stuff to activate as far as the market is concerned. So whether it is innovation, whether it is investment in our brands, whether it is investing in sales and distribution, we have a new initiative called Emerging India, which is about small town India and rural India, making sure we are well distributed there. And obviously making sure that, our supply chain is A, integrated, B, is cost optimized. All of these is things that we're doing to make sure that, while currently the economic growth may be challenged, we as an organization must keep moving forward.
Pidilite has always been the mantra of focusing on profitable volume growth. What will be the focus area for Pidilite for next couple of years?
See, there is the India consumption story. If you look at it, if you look at, for example, the number of new houses that are needed in India. When a house is built, that house has to be waterproofed. When the house is built, there is going to be furniture put in that house. They're going to buy objects. Those objects are going to break. Those objects are going to be put together. So frankly, as far as Pidilite is concerned, we're strong believers in the India story. We think the India consumption story has to play out. We divide our categories into what we call core categories, growth categories, and pioneer categories. And we see actually all 3 growing, though at different rates. We see core categories growing at 1 to 2 times GDP. We look at growth categories growing to 2 to 4 times GDP. And we look at pioneer categories as being tomorrow's growth categories. So frankly, as far as Pidilite is concerned, our strategy is in place. And we must make sure that, profitable volume growth remains our mantra.
We've also seen an increase in the contribution from your premium and value products. So what's the contribution you see in the future? Is this going to be a higher focus area for you?
See, absolutely. If you look at, for example, over the last few years, we've done a whole series of joint ventures. There's Ika Pidilite, there's the acquisition of Sippy. We've just announced 3 joint ventures last year. All of these are in premium value-added areas, and all of these, in a sense, are going to be ventures which are going to contribute to growth in the years coming forward. So, in our case, we have to walk and chew gum at the same time. Walking is making sure the core grows, and chewing gum is making sure that growth in pioneer categories, we keep creating and growing them.
All right, we'll leave it there. Thanks so much for joining us then this morning and talking us through some of the factors at play, Mr. Puri.